one half of Peep This, which is a new group that I'm starting with my homie Tycho. We got this project started. We got a bunch of new stuff coming out, but I am determined and I made a decision to start doing tutorials every Tuesday, and that's what I'm going to do. So this is the first one. All right, today I'm going to be talking about how to bus things properly and how to make your track, how to bus them properly and how to efficiently do that. I'll show you a track that I made before, and I'll show you the way I bus things, and then I'll go on to showing how to do that. I made a video before about the how to set up your drums properly, and a link to a video you'll see right there. But so check that out. Then I'll go into depth because I'm not going to go into depth about the drum bus tutorial. So I'm just going to show you how I do everything else. So if you look on the screen here, I have a bunch of shit organized and set up over here. I have kick trig, drum bus. So I already talked about that. It's I start with 3 kicks or however many kicks I want to go. I group them all in one track, and I make that my kick bus. And I have some effects on my kick bus. Then I have a snap bus, kicks and clap bus. They all go to they're in their own group, and they go to all these little things. They're buses. Excuse me. So they go into the drum bus. So look at that other video that'll explain how to do the rest of this. How to set that up. Now, how I set the rest of my track up is I have my drums that all go to the drum bus, as I said before. Then I don't put the fills I do put the fills to the drum bus, but I don't put the builds, like the snare builds and shit, I leave that by itself because I think those ones, I like to EQ them separately. I have a vocal bus, so each of these it's just a group basically. In Ableton, it's just a group. You just go, I'll show you how to group tracks in a second. So you can just group them together. And then on the master group in the vocals, I have this like audio effects chain. So I have an EQ, a compressor, and fab filter. I was using this, I like this EQ to roll off the lows and to get some basic EQing, but I always put this one on at the end, or I usually put this one on the end because it goes below. It goes pretty low. You can cut off and be more surgical when you go into the lower end. If you want to completely cut that stuff off, because this one, if you look at it, it only goes to 32 or something, and this one goes all the way down to here. So just something to be aware of. Yeah, on the vocals, I usually put a PSP Vintage Warmer just because it gels everything together. So I use this as the main effects on here. This PSP Vintage Warmer gels it together. Sausage Fattener, I want some fattening on it. Auto Tune. Some vocals just sound like shit, so you gotta auto tune that stuff. This one I think actually should be auto tuned. Yeah, I don't know why it's not auto tuned. Yeah, fuck. A minor. Maybe I had it on the individual tracks of the auto tune. Oh, I did, yeah. Sweet. Turn that off. So for this track, I just had the one, like here, I'll let you hear the vocals in this part. I took these vocals from that Kratos Future Is Now song. I made this kind of deep housey track, and these vocals just fit really well, so I put them on top. Dreams, adventures to come. So those are the vocals. So usually I drop it down each of my buses. I have them at -5 or -3. I like to start them at -5, and then have a bunch of tracks in it and then keep these ones low, because then once you in the mastering part, like when you finish mixing everything down, it's better to have it lower because you can just raise everything up as opposed to things clipping and you don't know where they're clipping from. It's just annoying. So I like to start low with that. So vocal is pretty simple. I have just these effects on it. Breakdown will be the same thing. I have whatever I use in the breakdown. Let's see what I have here. So I have these three here. So there's a bunch of, it's just piano. And this one, here's some like the piano melody I wrote. Pretty dope. So this in the breakdown section, even if I use the same instruments in the breakdown as in the with the leads, I still like to, unless they're usually contact's the only one I keep the same because it uses so much memory. But I'll duplicate them and you just put them in a different group because I like to have like Anna's one of the pads. Here's the piano and here's another piano on top, and I like to put them in the breakdown because then you can put a little EQ on them, which just kind of just squashes them together and makes the sound more gelled and cohesive. So I put that on there. So one compressor on there to kind of get the sound levels all together. PSP Vintage Warmer totally just brings everything together. I try to put that on every bus, and I like to sidechain compress each individual channel because sometimes I want different elements, not everything in that thing to be sidechained, but you can. So I put one on here just in case I want to use it. So that's everything in the breakdown. Leads, I'm pretty sure I'll have the same thing. Yeah, leads. So here's all my leads. Like this is one. Pretty badass sound. So with leads too, this will I'll have the same little chain here. You can just make this chain. It's really easy and just have it all the time. And I don't think I haven't done it on this. Oh yeah, I took the low ends off here. But sometimes at the master thing, depending on what I want in the sound, I'll put one of these bad boys on here and cut off the lows, but I'm not going to do that on this one. Put the PSP Vintage Warmer on there, gel everything together. Again, with this. One other thing I like to do is with some leads. So when you have sound coming at you in like the stereo field, you'll have your basses down here and then your leads on top here. And a good way to make space in the room is to take your higher stuff and pan it either right and left and then speed it up a little bit, like one a little faster than the other side. So it gives like more space in the whole stereo field. And it'll totally clean up your mixes and it just gives a more professional sound to things. So if you look on here, here's the same lead, except one's on the right side, one's on the left side, and then one sped up 5 milliseconds, one sped down 5 milliseconds. I like that time. It works for me. You can fiddle around. The further they are apart, the like more distant they sound in the background. So fiddle around with that. It's pretty cool. Then sometimes I'll put these ones to just a separate audio track and then put that in a group. But for this one, I just kept it all into one, just going to the group. So when you play them both, you obviously won't be able to hear the difference here, but try it yourself and you'll know what I'm talking about. So that's my lead group. Pretty simple. And then basses. So bass, I have this bass fat one just because one I put a sausage fattener on, but the sausage fattener kind of takes away from the low end, so I have one separate one if I want to use some more lower tones. This one, I had 2 Anna basses that are working together. So in each of these, I'll have the fab filter I just used on this one, and I cut the low end on that and fiddled it around till the two sounds kind of worked well together, and side chained them. I think they're side chained the same. Yeah, they're side chained exactly the same, and then they run into the Vintage Warmer, which compresses them more. I didn't want to take out too much low end, so I left that off. I think I rolled the lows off. Well, I took a little bit out of 500 here. Then I put a sausage fattener on just to. It just gave it a more like big, fatter sound. And then I put a side chain on after that because there's gonna be more sound that needs to, because there's more sound kind of like added with the sausage fattener, you're gonna want to put a compressor on again after that. And then I threw it into, no, I didn't throw it into mono. Yeah, no. So that's the bass, and then the last thing I have is the effects. And I usually keep them all the same color. This fucking blue thing. So I put all the effects into same bus. I have like 4 risers, up and down shifters, impacts, and all that BS. So I have all that shit, and these ones I used to just cut the lows off individually, but then there's some sounds like in the breakdown you want some of the bassier stuff, so I leave that and I'll just cut it off each individual one. I don't really put anything on here to keep everything together because the effects should, most of them will be a different sound, so you don't want to compress any shit like that. So the effects bus, there's really nothing on here. Maybe I'll cut out the lows, but that's about it. Other than that, you wouldn't even have to group these together. So that's how I group my tracks. I'm gonna put my template for download on the website, and you can download shit for free. Use it. It's fucking awesome. Excuse me. I'll show you quickly in Ableton how to where is this? So how to create that shit by yourself. All right. So as I was saying, how to create this thing from scratch. So if we start off and we just make, if we start off with just a blank slate, this is just an audio track right here. You can use this as a template or as in any other DWA. So there's going to be an audio and a MIDI. Those are typical files. Those are the typical types of tracks you'll have. So this one's an audio one. Let's create a MIDI one. We'll call this lead 2. And then we'll put one more audio one. We'll call this lead 3. Okay, in Ableton, you can select them all, hold shift and click down, click the last one to select them all, press Command G to group them. So that'll group them into basically a bus. If you don't have Ableton, you can just make an extra audio track, so insert an audio track and call it lead bus. It's going to make sure that this MIDI has an instrument on it. All right. Now this is going to, you want to send all your audio or your leads to the lead bus. So you send it to lead bus. I don't know how you do it in other DWAs, but in this one, you just click the little box right here and you send it all to lead bus. Make sure this is clicked in so all the sound's coming in. So if I go silent, this is silent, right? Yes. Oh yeah, there's no sound coming off. There's no sound engine here. So you see how it's coming over here? So this is your lead bus. So now all these sounds, regardless of what they are, will come through this bus. Now here's what I usually put in here is, I don't know if I don't have any effects here. That's weird. That's really weird. I don't have anything here. What the deuce? Oh well, whatever. So I usually put EQ8. I think it's because I have 2 Abletons open. That's probably why. Yeah. So one's 32-bit, one's 64-bit, if anybody's wondering why that's happening. So here, I usually put in an EQ8, a compressor here, and then a fab filter to do some more surgical EQ, and then whatever you want on the top over there. Awesome. This is how you bus things. That's how you bus leads. Put it for every different groups. As you see here in mine, I have little buses for everything. So like claps, herks, it's like just hi-hats and shit. Loops, a whole bunch of loops. I like to bust them all together. These things, fills, the fills. You should probably bust like all the separate parts. I like to keep it organized. And then, yeah. So then it'll sound all super tight and awesome. I don't know why this is stuff working here. Did I just solo that? There we go. This is a remix I did of what's it? What is this? This is Kratos Future is Now, or Kara2's Future is Now. It will be for free download in a week. I'm just gonna make the video for it, make it all super tight and dope and cool, and it'll be up for free for download in a week. Check that out. Subscribe to my channel right here, and subscribe to my new channel. It'll be Peep This. It should be right here. That will be the new website where I'll be putting all these videos onto. Also, check me out at facebook.com/justpeepthisoriginal or peepthisofficial, and Twitter at justpeepthis. Peace.